Hi everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, where today we'll be walking through Dublin City. And starting off our trip is O'Connell Street, which contains modern landmarks such as the Spire and the Portal. This then takes you to O'Connell Bridge, which is known for being as wide as it is long. It's also a pretty significant bridge, which has a lot of historical background, but also connects the north to south Dublin. And the day I decided to record this, there just so happened to be a protest going on, which is a pretty common occurrence in Dublin. There's a lot of traditional pubs around the area, but I think what most people associate O'Connell Bridge with is the Heineken building you're about to see here. And fun fact, Heineken don't actually own the building, it's just an advertising space, and the building's called O'Connell Bridge House. And here's a view of O'Connell Bridge looking down at O'Connell Street, where you can vaguely see the pointy thing, which is the Spire. And just past O'Connell Bridge is Westmoreland Street, where if you take a side street, it'll take you to one of Dublin's most famous tourist attractions, and I think you'll know which one it is. And that's Temple Bar, of course, known for its cobbled streets and infamous traditional Irish pubs. And I think the charm of the area is that it feels like it takes you to a different time in Dublin, where the buildings are old fashioned, but they keep that traditional Irish spirit with them. But what it's really known for is the traditional Irish pubs that scatter around the area, and a lot of tourists flock to these pubs to experience that type of traditional Irish style of drinking. Now, you will have to pay a premium for your drinks and your food, but a lot of people say that they really enjoy their time here because of the ambience. All the pubs around the area, like the Temple Bar here, are typically always full of people. And there's usually live music on around the whole time. So even if you didn't want to drink alcohol, you could just sit down, have some food, and enjoy some live music. And just outside Temple Bar, back on the River Liffey, is the Halfpenny Bridge. Now officially it's called the Liffey Bridge, but no one really calls it that, and the name Halfpenny comes from the fact that people had to pay half a penny to cross the bridge back when it was first erected in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And when you get off the Halfpenny Bridge, cross the road takes you to the Merchant's Arch, which is another way into Temple Bar. Now, if you are on Westmoreland Street but decided not to go to Temple Bar, this will take you to College Green, where Trinity College is located, which is one of the top universities in all of Europe, and also the oldest university in Ireland. College Green also acts as a central hub for public transport, and a lot of buses go through here to connect the north side to the south side. Now this area is known for its side streets, and one in particular is Suffolk Street here, just off College Green, which contains the very famous Molly Malone statue. Now this statue has a really weird tradition associated with it, so I'm not going to talk about it here, but Molly Malone is a fictional character and is mentioned in the song Cockles and Mussels. Another popular side street is South William Street, which in contrast to Temple Bar contains a lot of modern bars and cafes. And this area is where a lot of the younger people go to hang out. And just like the UK, Dublin has a lot of canalways, which traditionally would have been used to transport goods around the city, so this area here has a pretty strong business presence around it. This is a pretty well developed area, full of new apartment blocks and shops, and they're still always building around it, so it's a pretty busy area at the moment. But what I like about it is that they've still managed to keep a natural presence in the area, like the Ivea Gardens here, where I normally go for my lunchtime walks. You can think of it like a small version of St. Stephen's Green, which we'll talk about later on in this video. But for now, here's some shots of Ivea Gardens and the rest of the surrounding area. As you can see, they preserved a lot of the natural integrity of the area by keeping the trees around and also maintaining the integrity of the buildings. And I really like the fact that you can just walk around and see these modern buildings with the scenery as well, which I really like about Dublin. But moving on to one of Dublin's most popular areas for both tourists and locals is Stephen's Green, Grafton Street area. Grafton Street is a pretty busy shopping street in Dublin, and there's a lot of luxury boutiques that you can see around. And while there are other shopping streets in Dublin, like Henry Street, I think it's a lot nicer to walk around here than there. This guy here is a staple of the area, and he's always around here feeding the pigeons. Now, I don't know his exact name, but you'll see him around here a lot. Now, to be honest, I wouldn't normally do this, but just for the video, I did go up to him and ask him if I could touch some of the pigeons, and he did. And up close, you could tell how well fed these pigeons are. So if you do go up to him, just make sure to have a couple euro with you to donate, because he will ask for it. This then takes us to St. Stephen's Green, which is the central park in the heart of Dublin. Now, you can think of it like a very small version of Central Park in New York, and it's actually a real nice place to go for a walk during lunchtime. But it does get closed in the evenings, which is a bit annoying because I know a lot of parks around Europe stay open throughout the night. Also, just remember there's a lot of seagulls and pigeons in the area, so if you are thinking of bringing your lunch in, just be careful about where you eat it. But when it's a really nice sunny day like this, it's a very nice place to be. Now, just past St. Stephen's Green takes you to Harcourt Street and Camden Street, where a lot of the nightlife in Dublin occurs. And it's also a pretty big financial district where a lot of international businesses are based. So you'd imagine that the area needs a lot of places for these people to go after work. Another good thing about the area is that there's a lot of places to go for lunch, such as the Odeon here. While it is fancy, it's actually pretty reasonable as well, and the food's pretty nice. When the suits go home, the baggy trousers take over. And you'll see this area crawling with young professionals and college students alike. And one of my favourite things to do in Camden Street is to watch an up and coming artist perform in Whelan's. Whelan's is a great venue because it's a really personal feeling venue where you can watch the artists up close, but it also functions as a late bar. On this particular night, we watched an Irish artist from Belfast called JC Stewart. I've been a big fan of his for a really long time, so it was real nice to finally get to see him live. And he does a really cool part of the show where he goes into the crowd and performs an acoustic song. And this part really gave me goosebumps, so it was really cool. So that's really a small snapshot of Dublin, but there's so many other areas that I didn't get to cover. But the great thing about Dublin is that everything's so close together so that you can kind of just walk around and see for yourself. I love the city and I hope you do too. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.